especially. It's time for us to get a little self-sufficient. We got to know how to get a garden, at least know how to do something. You know what I'm saying? And that's my goal and point is I want to teach people ways to affordably have like gardens and just help each other out because it's so easy. Like my auntie used to give fruits and vegetables away to the neighbors, like little stuff like that. Like the homeless people wouldn't have any problems going into my auntie's backyard getting some food. Like that's what I want to share. Like I want to continue that. Like 'cause it's easy to just have a garden.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah. Yeah, and
yeah, I think it's hella important, like you said, especially right now, with everything that's going on. I feel like this is just a time that like we just need to like really tap into our ancestors. I've been hella thinking about my grandmother, who I'm from the part of East Oakland where Traci was talking about, and my grandmother's house was she was on 90th, and one thing that I remember, as a kid is that her and a lot of the neighbors in that area who were Black folks from the South, they all had gardens,
Yeah.
My grandmother grew her own vegetables. She had a clothesline in the backyard. She didn't get a dryer. She had a washing machine, but she didn't get a dryer for hella years, like until she wasn't able to, go and physically do that, that work. And, she left us in 2010, but I've really been thinking about her and about how just some of the, small things and getting out there in the yard with her, she'll have to do certain work, and it was therapeutic, and just being isolated and being around my plants and my pet is giving me, some much needed comfort and sanity. And so like I really appreciate what you've been doing with your group and being able to talk and engage with other Black people just around, plants and not even talking about COVID,
Yeah, no, seriously. It's been very therapeutic. Like, and it's funny that you mentioned that because that's one of the main reasons I started it. I work with, in South Memphis, I have a lot of mentees and most of them are boys. And, I have resources to counseling and therapy, things that we need in our community, but I can take them camping. I can take them in a garden, like little stuff like that. And it has been very therapeutic to them. Like they love it, So yeah.
I wanted to also ask, like, in where you're at, because I've never been, to Memphis. Are there any like, co-ops that are doing, work out there? Like, can folks get access to, free vegetables and stuff? Like, what's the scape like?
Yeah.
Out there.
There are there are a few community gardens in Memphis right now. Only one of them that I know of. Well, actually, so in Orange Mound, which is also the first Black community in America, there's a couple of community gardens out there. That's another reason, hey, if y'all ever want to come to Memphis, visit Orange Mound. It's the first Black community in America. It's really dope. There's a really nice community garden there that helps people get free access to fruits and vegetables. In South Memphis, where I'm from, there's Knowledge Quest. They help kids, teach them gardening and stuff. And sorry, my friends just walking in. There's a few co-ops starting and being built on, and eventually I'm partnering with Knowledge Quest to help build on that. And actually, because right now it's just kids, and they want to figure out a way to get more grants to bring more of the community and not just the youth. And what was the other question?
Oh, that was basically a question. Like, is there any like organizations or folks out there doing stuff like around food justice or access to?
Besides that, I actually was the I don't know if you heard about the juice bar I used to run. It was I ran this juice bar in South Memphis. It was a pay what you can juice bar, fully healthy, in the middle of what they consider a food desert. It's a neighborhood with no grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
The only grocery stores are like Save-A-Lot, like secondhand grocery stores. Everything you go in there, you like this. None of this is fresh. And so we started this juice bar that also gives food away. It's pay what you can. We don't turn anyone away. Everything is healthy. Not only is it affordable and pay what you can, but everything's very healthy because in that area also, everything, of course, is just fast food. So we wanted to create a place that there was no classism behind being able to afford a healthy meal, a fresh juice or fresh smoothie. People would literally come in, $2, whatever you got. If you ain't got nothing cool, you want to volunteer, wipe the table down for us real quick? And that's what we did. I just left there to pursue I built the bridge. I built it. I laid down the table. I put the platform down. Then I left because I needed to like do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that was another good organization. And there's actually another a nonprofit taco joint opening in the same community. Same thing, pay what you can, volunteer. And not only, I love this place. I can't wait till they open. It's Black owned as well. They are going to be teaching the community gardening as well. So, and they'll have free, the neighborhood will get free access to their garden, and people outside of the neighborhood have to buy memberships or something. So, yeah, there's a couple of places in the city actually trying to, yeah.
That's dope. I really hope that we can actually get back to that, like, you know, kind of barter system of in trade. I know that Miss Ollie's here in Oakland is it's a Black-owned restaurant, and she's offering people pay what you can for food. Even certain artists and people I see, and like this COVID shit is some fucked up shit, but I think that people are trying to get back to our roots, and bartering is a big thing, especially in the gardening and farming. That's how a lot of people were able to survive, by exchanging different types of foods. Like if you have the cattle and can provide meat, we can do an exchange for fruits and vegetables. Traci, real quick, like, I've seen the pictures of your garden, and I'm just like, wow, you have like huge collards and all kinds of different greens and different things. What is for people who might be interested in starting a garden, what would you recommend to start with? Like, what is an easy vegetable to grow for somebody that has no experience?
Well, first you should decide where you want to grow. If you want to grow, let's say you want to grow outdoors in a garden. The first thing I do is I look at the location, and I determine what part of the area you want to garden in gets the most direct sunlight. And then that's where I plant most of my vegetables, because they like that direct sun all day long. So that's the first thing that I usually do, like, is assess the space, and then also assess the soil. So I look for soil that has that sandy loam, and if it's really hard and clay-like, then I haven't had to deal with that actually, but I would imagine I would look for some kind of amendments to add to it so that the soil is ready. And then collard greens, they're robust. They are going to grow in almost with, they're easy to grow, I should say. And collards, tomatoes, zucchini, squash, corn, all of those plants, if you get them in some good soil, in direct sunlight, and you water them a couple of times a week, they're going to do their thing and they're going to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as far as cannabis, I've been growing cannabis in my garden for 10 years or more. You know, actually, before I bought this house, my apartment was a few blocks away from my friend, and she had a big backyard. So we would do community gardening, and I would grow weed in her garden. So I enjoy planting my weed by my tomatoes or by my other vegetable plants.
Right.
And the same nutrients that I give my vegetables, which is first of all, I make sure I put a lot of good amendments to the soil. So I'll get some a compost that has a lot of worm castings and extra minerals and stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll mix that in with my soil. And then what I fertilize my plants with is a chicken manure tea. Hey, I see you lighting it up right now, Star.
Okay, I'm rolling up
Yes.
too.
You already know.
Yes.
I'm rolling up too.
And so, yeah, the cannabis, the vegetables, the flowers, the fruit trees, they all love that tea, that chicken manure tea. It has a lot of nitrogen and other nutrients in it. And so that's what I fertilize my plants with.
Nice.
I have a quick question, Tracy. Can I ask a question real quick, Chaney?
Yeah, I was about to chime you in.
Okay. Oh, just because, so Chaney, just so you know, you're my people's. I just ordered this big ass box of seeds that has like 125 heirloom varieties. It's like
Nice.
like $100 on Amazon. I'm like, I'm gonna spend 40. Might as well get the baller box. So Chaney, if you want to start some shit, I got you, girl. I got you. I got you.
Nice.
Quick question, Tracy. I'm gonna take y'all outside since I'm gonna get this info right now.
Okay.
So in my backyard, because like I'm in my backyard right now, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. It's raining, but
where are you? Are you in the Bay?
I'm in Hercules.
Okay.
So I'm looking like this. I'm like, if these weeds grow great, if these weeds are going good, then the soil is good, right?
Yeah.
I heard that like if your weeds will, that's my cardboard box. I'm gonna cover all this and do some topsoil, and I'm gonna take it over. But like something like this, I can do, you know, wherever weeds are growing on the ground, is that considered good soil or not? I've heard that from several people.
I think that's a good analogy. I would say yes. I saw some trees. How much sun does that area get? Yes, right under that tree.
Oh, hold on a second. We can't hear you.
You got the mute on.
We couldn't hear you, Terrence. We couldn't hear you. She was saying, how much light do you get in that area?
A good amount. But I've been wanting to cut back this tree for a while because it's over my property, but I don't own the tree. It's the homeowner association. Okay. So if it hangs over the fence, the rule is I can cut it. I got all that room over there too. But you know, since we saving projects for later at my house, we're not trying to do everything at once. But
yes.
Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go back inside.
Yeah. Once you cut back those trees, you'll get even more sunlight, and that looks like a good place for you to plant whatever it is you want to put in there.
Okay.
I would probably, it seems like he has enough room to where he could even make a box.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah.
And also I have another side yard too that stuff grows in too. So I'm considering doing this side yard because I'm considering if grass will grow, then I guess vegetables will grow. I ain't gotta have the biggest harvest as long as I'm harvesting something.
Oh yeah, that looks like a nice amount of space too.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome to my crib. I just wanted to see Chaney's face because I miss my homie and until they get out, say hello to my boys.
What's up, family? How y'all doing?
They good. Okay, yeah, it's all good. I'm here.
Well, I actually had a question for both of y'all. For I don't have access to I personally don't have access to a garden. My mom has a yard and she's been doing some like really, I wanted, kind of like you, Tracy, I wanted to actually do this for my mom's backyard who lives down the street, but it's raining and shit. But any tips for folks who might be considering starting a indoor garden? Or recommendations on different types of vegetables that are okay to grow indoors. Luckily, I'm able to get a lot of sunlight in my place. But I've been considering, especially with everything that's going on now, like, possibly growing my own food and trying to do it indoors. Star, have you tried that or have any tips?
Yeah, I definitely am about growing herbs indoors. Like I got some basil, I got some dill, I got some oregano, like rosemary. Like I would definitely recommend herbs. I have grown tomatoes indoors and I've grown greens indoors. The tomatoes don't taste as good, but like they still like, they still eat edible to me. But like I'm not gonna say that they're just as good as outside. Like I know if it's because of the pollination, the bugs and all that, but they aren't. I'm still trying to study the growing indoors so I can like be really good at it. But herbs, definitely. Like I would definitely recommend. Even some berry trees. Like I'm actually growing blackberries right now. In my window, I leave the window crack a little bit, hoping that some bugs will get up in there. They'll leave after they finish, but like hoping some will get up in there a little bit, just because like you said, what's going on right now, we don't know how long quarantine life's gonna be. And I'm not a fan of going to the grocery store because there's too many people up in there. So yeah, like I say, honestly though, I say try everything. Right now, what do you got to lose? We got so much time to experiment and just test stuff out. So like,
enough time for trial and error, huh?
See what's the best thing to grow in the house. Now it's the time.
Now it's the time.
This is what I'm growing in my house right now.
We have nothing but time.
Oh, that's dope.
Okay. Oh, cool. I want to get into that too.
Yeah, so
I'm getting into that because now is the time.
This is my little science project.
I see you over there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm teaching my kids genetics while we're breeding guppy fish.
Okay.
So we're doing like selective breeding.
That's dope. I want to shout out my homie Emily Ramos from Hydre. How do I say it again? You're on mute. Let me unmute you. There you go. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Yes. How you doing?
Good. Welcome to the call. I don't want to get off topic, but yeah, Tracy, if you had any recommendations about indoor growing for food, I know the Star mentioned the bugs are important, and still having the dirt, and I'm sure the oxygen. But any tips for folks who might not have outdoor access, who might be considering growing food indoors?
I haven't done much growing food indoors, but I have observed friends and family members that have, herbs, just like Star got her basil and other things growing indoors. Herbs seem to grow really well by a window. And as with all plants, you want a pot that is going to facilitate its growth. The more space the roots have to grow, then the better and even the bigger the plant will grow. So yeah, I would just suggest to find a sunny window and put some pots in that window and have some herbs growing there.
Yeah, and that brings me, to the next thing I would bring Emily in, because we were having a discussion as well, about the importance of co-ops at this moment, and really being intentional about like some of the connections that we're making with community, and also for communities, Black and Brown communities, especially in East Oakland. I feel like we need more community gardens and spaces where people within the neighborhood can go and get food if needed. I noticed like in West Oakland, you have some spaces and some other, they're all locked and you have to like be a part of a group. And one of the things I love about just the Bay Area in general is that there's just food everywhere. Like there's fruit trees, you can find nettle growing wild. Like, I don't know, people notice, like even off of 580, you can see like food. Like we have an abundance of food. And what I would like to see is just more education for us to recognize what food looks like, and being able, to identify like where we can like, find free food that's just like growing. And so, Emily, I wanted to, if you wanted to chime in. I know earlier we were talking about, just the importance of these different cooperatives as like we're experiencing this current pandemic. And, I know in New York, in New York City in general, there isn't, a lot of spaces. So if you want to talk about like that and how people on the, East Coast are working around food justice.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to talk, Chaney. My name is Emily. I'm the owner and founder of Hi Mi Madre. We are a women, family of color marijuana worker cooperative. We're incubated in the South Bronx at Green Worker Cooperative Academy, which is an incubator program for people of color, especially people from the South Bronx. It's a 5-month intensive training program that helps you start any type of worker cooperative business in any industry. So we just happen to be a marijuana cooperative. They're actually called Green Workers Cooperative because they help you reimagine your business as an eco-friendly business with the environment in mind. So even if your business is like in an industry or a trade that's traditionally not environmentally friendly, they try to help you reimagine ways. Like there's 1 week of class where we're just learning about eco-friendly practices and businesses and ways that we impact the environment, and we do a presentation on how our business tries to combat like our green footprint and how we try to reduce like pollution and emission in the environment. And we fortunately were able to go to Co-Fed Summer Cooperative Academy, which is run by New Economy Coalition, which is a national trade association for all types of cooperatives. So not just worker cooperatives, they also represent producer cooperatives, which are like a lot of farming cooperatives, consumer co-ops, which are a lot of grocery co-ops, and worker cooperatives, and hybrid multi-stakes, which means you could be a collaboration of any of those things. So we're aiming to be a consumer worker cooperative so that our clients can also buy into membership and get like discounts and perks on our services, and also generate intergenerational wealth in our communities by being able to invest in our worker cooperative. So Co-Fed Summer Co-op Academy is around food justice. The Food Justice Academy is for youth of color. They do it every year online. You can go to cofed.coop and you'll find it. They're a nonprofit organization, really dope. And they do their academy in Durham, North Carolina, at a farming co-op that's owned by 7 people of color. And they grow food, and they grow like indigenous African herbs that are used like for medicinal purposes and for food. Like I didn't know that you can add nettles to tea. One of my friends is an alkaline chef. She has her own business, La Frugo Alcalina, and she was like giving me tips on like how I can cook herbs into my food to make sure that I'm boosting my immune system. And she was telling me that you can add nettles to soup. And nettles are really good to consume right now because it's like boosts your immune system, especially for me, like I'm anemic, and so nettles are very high in iron. And so just really learning about our environment and how our environment can nourish us and heal us, and how environment is medicine is really important. One of my friends, they have a worker cooperative called Alternatives, and they're trying to create an herbal bodega, bringing herbal medicine and ancestral practices, modalities, and medicines like back to our community. And they're from the Bronx. And they're really dope. They've been educating the community a lot about different herbs that we can use to heal our bodies. And they also had the opportunity to go to Co-Fed, so I really recommend it. There was actually some folks from California that were in the academy that I was in. There were some high school students that were trying to open. One was owned a farm, and I think she was trying to start a farming cooperative. And the gentleman was trying to start a consumer co-op, a grocery co-op where people could get locally like sourced food and like local farm raised like meat that's like fresh, organic, no pesticides and like chemicals, which is really dope. And so, you know, people have been doing the work to create, you know, this infrastructure that we want, you know, where we have control of like our own food supply, the means for all of our services and goods that we need to sustain ourselves and our communities. And unfortunately, you know, that infrastructure is not in place fully right now to be able to help with a lot of the collateral consequences of this pandemic right now. But for example, if everyone had their own farming co-op, we wouldn't be worrying about access to fresh, nutritious food right now to boost our immune system. If everyone was allowed to grow their own weed, we wouldn't be worried about people having access to medicine, the cost of medicine, and, you know, cannabinoids that like boost our immune system, which is amazing because this pandemic is attacking our immune system, and it also marijuana helps with bronchial diseases and viruses, and it's just really great, which is why it's been deemed an essential medicine. But it's messed up that many people have lost years of their lives, are in prison for something that is now deemed an essential medicine, and that people don't have access, especially in New York right now, because we don't have marijuana legal, especially flower, and it's an essential medicine.
Right.
And so hopefully.
And I want to stop you right there, because I want to what you just said. I want to bring that to the next topic, because we're talking about the importance of food justice, co-ops, and growing our own food. But right now, you know, of course, everyone's attention is on COVID and you know, the news and health. But while this is going on, at the same time, marijuana is in danger, especially for recreational people. You already have certain cities here in California that have deemed recreational marijuana as non-essential. So if you're a recreational user, you can't go, you know, and can't get access, which is another reason why it's important for folks, especially Black people and brown folks, to learn how to grow our own medicine. So just like we're growing our own food, we need to grow our own medicine. And one thing this pandemic is doing is actually it's speeding up federal legalization for cannabis. And that's not necessarily a good thing for us, right? Especially for people who are in small business and people who might fall, under equity. So I just want people and Black folks in general to be aware of that and to follow what's going on, in the marijuana justice news, and if there's any calls of action, of course, call your local people, because right now it's very important for people to have access to marijuana and affordable marijuana. Every liquor store is open. You don't need, a prescription for that. And so we have to make sure that that is something that we pay attention to. I know there's a lot going on right now that's taking, our attention that our attention needs to go to, of course. But I just want people to know that this is actually happening, and there's people working here locally in the Bay Area, to make sure that that awareness gets out. I just want to shout out my homie Amber, who just hopped on as well. I'm high, everybody.
Hey Chaney, you got a plug on the clones? You got a line on some sativa, like real sativa clones?
There's clones for sale right now at Harborside. I know the homie just got some. They have some really good strains. So check out their website and go on their website. Honestly, I know they've been a source for good clones since they've been open. So
and they're $18. Don't get them ice cream cakes. They got powdered mildew.
I'm just trying to avoid being around large amounts of people or going indoors where large amounts of people are at. So
they do
it's
delivery
more like
too, and they
they
deliver
have delivery. They have delivery.
No, but I live in Hercules. Nobody delivers to me, Chaney Turner. Nobody wants to drive, even though I'm gonna spend twice as much for the drive. No one wants to drive.
Or you could do curbside pickup. But I
still got my seed stash. I just still got my seed stash from years ago. See if they still pop back up. Let's see what happens.
Cool. Well, since I don't want to put you on the spot, Amber, but since you are here and you are someone that has experience in growing, we were talking about, we have been talking about growing, food and different types of vegetables and plants that's easy to grow. From your expertise as somebody who's, been in the game growing for a long time, what would you recommend for folks, especially now, who might be interested in growing, their own strains of marijuana, and how important do you feel it is in this moment for people to learn how to do this?
Yeah, so I'm a licensed manufacturer and distributor and a delivery as well. So, I do participate in the legal regulated market. And I feel like, the BCC, Bureau of Cannabis Control, and state has not been very exhibiting any leadership throughout this whole crisis that we're dealing with. So folks are not going to be able to access cannabis because of the costs. We got people losing their jobs left and right, and the industry, the regulators are not giving us any kind of tax breaks whatsoever that could translate to lower cost cannabis for consumers. So, if you do want to continue to smoke, just know that these prices ain't dropping. And so I feel like it is important
because of that, for people to learn how to grow their own, you know. And this is coming from somebody who makes money and a living off of selling weed legally. And I see what's happening here. You know, I know I'm a patient as well. I suffer from lupus and a number of other autoimmune issues, so I depend on cannabis as medicine. And I know that there are people in my community that women in particular, women of color in particular, that suffer from autoimmune diseases disproportionately and compared to the rest of the population. And cannabis is a useful tool in managing the shit that we have to deal with. And we depend on this shit. And so I think it really is very, very important for people to consider growing their own at this time, because it's not going to get any cheaper or any more accessible for us. So with that being said, what are the best strains to grow? I mean, the easiest strains are typically, and this is being very generalized here, but indicas, you know, they're shorter flowering times. They can usually sustain a little bit more abuse, especially if you just learning how to grow. They can take a beating a little bit more than, you know, than sativas and other strains. Blue Dream, easy to grow. That's kind of like a hybrid, you know. Good place to start. Usually clones are pretty readily available of Blue Dream. It's also a great yielder. What else? Cushes are not so easy. Some cushes are, but the OGs and stuff, temperamental, acidic, not so easy to grow. So I would stay away from those kinds of plants. But if you are going into some place like Harborside to pick up clones, you know, you can always talk to those folks behind the counter on what they got, what their current offering is, and what would be the best for your situation, you know. But like I said, being very general, clones are easier to start with than seeds, in my opinion. Like, I got a bunch of seeds, but I'm always so scared to pop seeds because it's a nerve-wracking process, and you can definitely fuck it up. And seeds are not cheap for the most part when you're buying them. Some clones are very hardy and pretty forgiving, and you know, if you do ask around enough, like Mr. Terrence did, you can usually find somebody that's gonna do a homie hookup on some clones and gift you some. So, you know, you can save a few dollars there. But yeah, I love growing all plants, not just weed, but also vegetables and flowers and succulents and all the things. So yeah, I'm about the plant life.
Yeah, I notice it kind of goes hand in hand. People who especially who like to grow vegetables end up growing, you know, weed. One of my OG homies from church, Mr. Hodges, I would go help him in his garden, and he would have nothing but like strawberries, tomatoes, and cannabis. And you know, I go help him in the yard, and I always leave with some vegetables and some cannabis. But I think it's just important for us to reclaim all kinds of shit. This has been, we are people, you know, of the earth. Like I said, like many folks on the call, you know, said, I've either gotten into garden learning from, you know, an elder, whether it's an aunt, grandmother, grandfather, and there's no reason why we shouldn't, you know, return to what our ancestors want us to do. And I feel like, you know, they're trying to speak to us, and they are trying to guide us in this moment, and just tapping in with our garden, whether it's outside or our plant babies that are inside, is really going to help us in some ways get through this. You know?
Yeah, and I think something that all the callers, all the people on this call have mentioned is self-sufficiency. It's like, how can you be as self-sufficient as possible so that you create and control what it is that you need, whether it's weed, whether it's food. It's and this moment during this pandemic is a time where we see that, you know, where there are things that are not available. And so it makes you question, like, well, what can I control on my own? Like, what can I grow and have on my own? So, yeah, the gardening piece is, you know, coming back to nature, and having your own food and medicine. And, you know, it's interesting. There's I was going to say it's easy, you know, and it's easy in the sense that nature has this intelligence to sustain itself, you know, and so sometimes plants will just regenerate on their own, but it is work, you know, to tend to your garden and to give it attention and to cultivate it. With anything, the time that you spend in cultivating it is what helps you to have a good return. So I guess the easy part is just nature's intelligence and how you set up the right situation, it's going to grow. It's going to take off and grow. And then also what's easy is that it's grounding. It's spiritual. And being in that gardening environment, it uplifts my spirit and many of the other people that I do gardening with.
Yeah, and I thank you for inviting community to be in your garden, you know, because a lot of people, like I said, don't have access to be in that kind of space. Important. Yeah, yeah. Any last words, Star? Anything you want to add?
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's spiritual, and it is like, you know, the intelligence of Earth reminds me of how they say us saving the planet isn't saving the planet, we're saving ourselves, because the planet doesn't need us. Earth does not need us like we need the Earth. So while we're here, we need to take care of it, because she can wipe all of us the fuck out if she wanted to, and that's just on period. And so I feel like it's important for us to respect her and take advantage of what she can give us. And gardening is one of those things we need to take advantage of. Plants is one of those things we need to take advantage of. The air in your house is different. The vibe in your house is different. The motivation in your house is different. It's really easy to get depressed during this quarantine, but like, I be finding myself bumping some music and just sitting up in my room, dealing with my plants and like having the best time ever. Like, you know, like, so like I'd be like just propagating whatever. Like, I don't know, it's not even just that, but looking at pictures, I don't know, plants are just, I don't know, buy a plant from the places that's still open to do something. Like, they learn how to garden. It's really, I've watched videos on YouTube and tried to get better with some of my gardening skills, since I can't really go out with my granddad right now. But yeah.
Star.
Return to nature. Yeah.
Star. Well, one thing for everyone, if you could add any links and social media.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Star, I have a question. It sounds like, I was just going to say, Star, it sounds like you do something that I find myself doing, and that's just staring at my plants. I just find myself just staring at them and looking to see, like, if there's any changes, and, you know, observing their growth. And I find it also to be meditative. Like, I'll just stand there and there's not anything particular I need to do, but I'll just watch it. I'll just stare at it for some time.
Yeah. I definitely put your links so everyone can find each other. Star put the name of the plant group on Facebook and how people can find it. But yeah, they are the therapeutic, and I think the best people, growers, or people who have, you know, the best plants are the folks who give them time and attention. And I think that's one reason why I still prefer to get my weed from direct people instead of some of these dispensaries. Oh, weed is so bad in dispensaries now, y'all. I hate going in there. One question I did have for you, Star, being in Memphis, how is the access to getting weed? I'm not privy to what's going on out there. Do they have medical marijuana, or is everybody still just...
I'm sorry, we over here laughing because the drug dealer here. And so like, it's absolutely illegal.
Okay.
It's absolutely illegal. It's so illegal. I'm sorry, y'all. It's absolutely illegal. And we, honestly, like, as much as I hate cops, thank God the cops out here really don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Like, they got bigger shit to deal with. I don't know, we used to get in trouble for it a lot, but man, the police department's so corrupt. They don't even mess with us like that. But like, yeah, no, it's absolutely illegal. We cannot legally be out here smoking weed, but yeah, no, it's not legal. It sucks. It really sucks.
One day. Well, real quick, shout out which strain you're smoking on, or how we can find you. Amber, you said you have a delivery service. How can people support that here in the Bay?
Yeah, so you can support me by a number of ways. I have a few cannabis weed brands that are available. One is the Congo Club, and
highly recommended.
Yeah, thank you. It's Red Congolese, which is a landrace African sativa.
Hold up.
Say the questions for let her finish.
No.
Yeah, let her. She gonna put the links in there. Hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me see if I can't find this chat. Oh, okay, I can. I'm on my iPad, so it's a little different.
I'm gonna put the links to where you can find them, Terrence. Okay.
Okay, so yes, I have the Congo Club, which is African landrace sativa. You can find us through delivery with Padre Moo, which is a social equity delivery service. I'm launching a delivery service at the end of this week called Shady Pines Box Club. So you can also order directly from me. And I'll tell you straight up, my prices will be cheaper than all the retailers because it's coming straight from me, you know? So I recognize what's happening, and I'm trying to make sure that lower cost options are still available. And the only way that we can do that is to be vertically integrated. So that's what I'm doing, you know? So Shady Pines, boxclub.com. The website's not up yet, but it will be at the end of the week. My product's available at Harborside, Magnolia, BPG, a bunch of different dispensaries around the Bay, mainly East Bay. And I'm also executive director and co-founder of Supernova Women. We're a group of women of color that works to empower people of color to become business owners in cannabis. We host events. Obviously, we can't do that right now, but we do. We had an online discussion last week, which Emily here was on, and we'll have more discussions in the future. We're really trying to work to figure out best ways that we can support operators during this time, whether it's getting resources together for
can y'all see that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can.
It's sold.
Oh yeah, sold out. Yeah, actually, they just picked up an order today.
Oh, cool.
From the yeah, so they should definitely be up and operate and have our product back on the shelf, like probably later on today. It'll be back on the menu. But Yeah, Supernova, we're just trying to figure out ways that we can best support operators and offer resources during this time because, it's challenging. Obviously, this is some shit, next level shit. And so I'm thinking that, we can find what types of loans and forgivable loans and things like that are available to cannabis businesses. And there are a few. I know I've applied for probably about 50K worth so far. So there are some resources available to cannabis business operators looking for stuff. But outside of that, I host events, not just through Supernova, but I also do a cannabis pairing brunch and a supper where we'll have a jazz band and stuff come through and we'll smoke weed and just chill and kick it. I also do this monthly bingo night, a weedy bingo, which is a lot of fun. But, obviously all of those events are on hold. But that is through foxtail.events, which is my events company. And yeah, feel free to hit me up. I'm on Instagram. It's me, Amber E. That's my personal Instagram. My brands are the Congo Club on Instagram. Also Leisure.life on Instagram. That's where all my sun-grown and stuff like that are are more moderately priced options are available. And then, of course, Supernova Women on Instagram is where you can find information about Supernova and our events and that type of thing.
All right. And Terrence, you had a question, Terrence?
Oh, no. I was just asking, a long time ago, Red Congolese used to come by Harborside, like randomly. I just want to know if that's the same, like kind of
It is
in
the
the same family.
one. It's the same cut. It's the same grower. It's the same everything. We exclusively partnered with this grower and made him part of our company.
Yeah, that was rare and hard and difficult to get. It would pop up and like you cut it and it's all gone. And then you randomly catch it. So
it's the same cut, it's the same grower, it's the same everything. He's just now part of my company.
So you guys got clones, but I know there's no clones. I ain't getting that.
Yeah. We ain't never gonna have those clones available.
No. But definitely. I sent you a personal message, Amber. Let's link. We can do something quickly, drop off whatever, or tell me where to go.
Terrence, drop your information in the chat where people can find you. Terrence is a dope. He does a lot of things, but tech, photography, visuals, all kinds of things. So drop your information. Traci, how can people? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't freelance no more. I'm a part of a startup where I'm 100% involved in a tech startup with equity. So I have zero time and I can't do anything freelance because then I'm messing up that real bag. I don't have time for the bag. I'm trying to Black Pixels, BOKPXLS.
What is the name of your startup?
The company is called Bumblebee Spaces. We're a robotic furniture company, and so what we're doing is we're changing the way people live. So this is our unit, one of our units. I'm gonna use it. So your bed would be up top, and all your dressers and all your storage would be. Hold up, let me. I'm trying to bring it up right quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is one of our units in San Francisco right now that we just installed. I'm employee number 5. I'm not the founder, but I've been in it so long. But what happens is we're taking all of your furniture that takes up all your space in a small studio apartment and putting it in the ceiling, so it makes studio living affordable for small people. So if you're a limited income, we're trying to get buildings built with our systems in there. So right now, the reason why you have so much space, because if you want to sleep, it takes up your whole room. So you need a living room and a bedroom.
Do you do any like tiny homes or just apartments and studios?
Right now, we're focused on like apartments and studios, because tiny homes is like a niche market. But eventually, it will be a product where it can go in anywhere you want, small home, mobile home, like if you're studio, and it's not just about sleeping. So if you're have our systems in your dispensary. You can say, hey, Bumblebee, give me a pound of that OG Kush. It knows where you put the OG Kush at, because you can have the option of checking in items and retrieving that as well. So eventually, who knows in the future what our product will hold. But right now, we're focusing on making small units livable for everyone. And it's not necessarily Black owned, but it's definitely brown owned. The founder is an Indian guy who pretty much came up, lived in Baltimore, was a paramedic in Baltimore, and he's all about sustainability for people of color. It's like we're a very company that's really about not just making a bunch of money. Of course, we would like that, but also giving people places to live. So that's the short story about really what I'm in.
Well, drop your info and the website for your company if people want to learn more. Traci, how can folks follow you? How can folks follow B Loves Guest House, especially for some of the folks on the call who might want to visit and want to support Black space?
Absolutely. B Loves Guest House on Instagram, also Facebook, and my personal profile is Traci Bartlow on Instagram. So you can follow either one of those sites. Of course, my personal page is more for all of my creative stuff, and the Guest House page is specifically for the Guest House.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and the Guest House is wonderful. So if y'all ever visit the Bay or have some folks who are looking for a space in the Bay to support, definitely check out B Loves Guest House. Star, how can people follow you? How can folks find out more about the group and other things you're involved in?
Yeah, definitely. So on Instagram, it's plants.snakes. The letter N blunts. And my personal is Dima Keach Art. And on Facebook, it's Black Folks, Houseplants, Gardening, and Nature. And those are pretty much most of all my platforms.
All right, cool. And I want to shout out my homie Evolve on the call. Somebody in the community that's really dope. If you want to introduce yourself real quick, let folks know in this quarantine right now, if you need to do something. Oh yeah, I had to bring some of my plant babies out, a few of them. But if you want to, get your read on, Evolve has a book. You can order it. If you just want to, tell folks about some of the stuff you have going on real quick and how they can follow you and support.
Yeah, what's up, folks? Happy National Poetry Month. So for this month, I'm hosting 3 writing workshops every Monday of the month besides 420. 420, I will be celebrating and enjoying myself. But we also have a free writing workshop on Facebook. If you want to connect with me, you can jump in. We're doing writing prompts every day, 30 poems for the month, in the hopes to give folks a book or a zine or whatever they want for afterwards. As far as my work, you can check it out at evolvedenton.com. Sir is my first poetry collection, and it also accompanies an album, so you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere else. My partner and I just started attempting to grow some cannabis, so we're very excited about that. Our seeds are floating, or hoping that they float, to see if they're good. And I have some guidance for some homies in LA. So this was very, very amazing. I was in the background taking notes, and my partner was doing a twerk class. So that's why I was kind of in the background. I couldn't have it both going on, but I just want y'all to know I really appreciate the knowledge and the leadership, and it's just been dope just to hear and to see Black people doing this. Chaney, when you mentioned in the beginning, it's usually only white people, I was like, yes, finally I can learn from my folks. So thanks for the space, y'all. Yeah. And I'll drop my info in the chat box.
All right, dope. Thank you. And Jocelyn, did I pronounce that correctly? I don't think we've.
bro. I haven't said anything, but y'all jump in.
Cool.
All right, thanks.
Cool. Yeah. And Emily, I know you dropped some info in the chat where people can find out about like some co-ops over here in Cali and other spots. You want to add anything before we hop off real quick?
Thank you for inviting me on the call. A lot of people are making jokes out here that everyone's out of work except the drug dealers, since we're in quarantine right now. And just pointing out that like if we all had our own business, our own worker cooperatives, we wouldn't be worried about job insecurity. And they also try to push through marijuana legalization here in New York because of the pandemic, but they were going to leave out all the equity provisions and we didn't want it. So we're going to keep fighting for marijuana legalization next year. You can follow us at Jaime Magre for more information about marijuana legalization in New York. And we also try to keep updates about what's happening on the federal level also. And I also dropped information there about there's like a farming program in Santa Cruz, California that's affiliated with Farm School New York City that teaches you how to grow your own food. And then Oaksterdam, of course, teaches you how to grow weed in Oakland. And Canticle Farm is in Oakland, and it's a farming co-op that you can join to like learn how to grow food and to grow your own food there. It's based in Oakland also. Thank you.
Yeah. And I also say like for a lot of things, you know, if people know of any like links of like, you know, especially YouTube links to different people who might, you know, be good to follow for vegetable or cannabis growing. That's dope too. I see the homie Danielle's on the call. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see your face. It's been a minute. Yeah. If you want to drop anything or
I'm just happy to be here. Some of my favorite people on this call. So
what's up, Danielle? I see you.
Yeah. I'm here. I just want to say thank you for the info. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for, you know, being a part. Tracy and Star, thanks for taking the time. You know, Amber, thanks for hopping on and contributing. This is really important. I know I'm trying to spend some of this time. I think for us to get a better understanding, because honestly, y'all, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better soon. So these things are important just to, you know, have that knowledge of. Personally, I've been trying to like learn and I've been listening to like some podcasts about like the Great Depression and different things, and just kind of going back to history to see like, okay, because that's kind of where we headed. So how did people, you know, get through, or what to expect? So let's definitely keep some energy going and, you know, connect with your folks, you know, if needed. And we'll be doing some more of these kind of calls. So thank you all for participating and joining in, and, you know, have a great weekend. You know, I'm about to spend the rest of my day between the kitchen and here.
Yeah. Peace.
Yes. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Peace. Y'all have a good day. All right.
Oh, the call is over?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I thought we was all just kicking it.
I know.
All right.